Hello, and welcome to Goodnight channel. I'm Jake.
And I'm PJ. And we've been trying to complete the 52-game challenge. This week, we played game 15 of 52. Look at me. I can count after 14. Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen. Alright, can you tell me the story?
Well, I'm going to give you some stats, not the story. You're going to have to tell me the story because
okay. Give me some
I don't
stats.
know the story very well. So, the game was developed by Capcom, surprisingly,
Why is that surprising?
because they don't make anything.
They make
That is this
already.
bad.
they make Devil May Cry.
They don't make anything this bad.
Yes, they do. First of all, they tried to make that Mega Man Worlds game.
Which one?
Yeah, exactly. Which one? Exactly my point. They make lots of bad games.
Yeah, well, none as bad as this. They're all slightly better than this game. The director is Hideki Itsuno. Itsuno?
I don't know.
He made Devil May Cry.
Oh, he did 3
Or 4?
I'm sure it's 3 and 4 then.
I don't remember.
That makes sense.
And
I didn't even know that. That makes a lot of sense.
He made another game, and I can't remember what. But he made popular games. Maybe even Resident Evil. No, he didn't. I know he didn't.
But most importantly, he made DMC 3 and 4, which are fucking godsends.
Yeah, and he also... Oh, the game was built or was made on the MT engine. Do you know anything about that engine?
No. Is that DMC 4's engine?
Just as some examples of games that are on that engine... Dead Rising, RE5, DMC4,
hey,
RE6, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and Remake.
Wow.
Are all on that engine. Just variations of that engine, but I can see it in those games that they're all on that engine. The way they kind of play.
It's a good engine.
Release dates for this game, because there are multiple.
2012, 2013, and 2016.
Yep.
Or 2015?
2016.
2016.
And there's a sequel.
Yes and no. Dragon's Dogma Online isn't really a sequel.
It says it's a sequel.
Hopefully it'll be localized now that this sold really well. Because it looks fucking radical. There's a whole fist class that just fists people and flies into the air with his fists. It looks so cool.
It was super radical.
It looks so cool. Everything about DDO looks cool.
Well, I was interested in it until I beat this game, but... We'll get to that.
Yeah.
So I figured you'd go over to the story because you probably know it a little bit better than me, and I'll try and interject with some of my points that I have.
Well, I'm going to go over basic structure first before I get into the story.
Sure.
It is an action RPG. Kind of light on the RPG elements, heavier on the action elements, I would say. It has a much stronger focus on the action elements. Which is prevalent constantly. Whenever the RPG stuff falls to the wayside, like, story things just kind of stop or just don't happen correctly. Just because, But, so, you start the game, I guess it's a little bit of story. Start the game as a different character. You go through a quick little tutorial. You beat the tutorial. You can only play as fighter in that. There's different classes. But... when you play as your created character, which is a separate character from your tutorial character, you are in a small fishing village, and then this dragon comes, and he fucks shit up. And then you try to fight him, and he's just like, something in Latin.
Yeah.
Sounds vaguely cool. And he takes your heart out, and and he eats your heart. And then you start the game, basically, from there.
Yep.
And you can pick between Strider, Fighter? Is that what it's called? Fighter? Strider, Fighter, or Mage. Fighter is your classic sword and board. Strider is your classic rogue, and Mage is your classic mage. Mage is really boring. Don't pick Mage. It's just heals. Everything is super boring as a mage. Sorcerer is fucking radical, but don't ever pick Mage as your starting thing.
I picked Fighter.
Fighter is fun. Strider is fun.
Because I wanted to beat things up.
Yep.
Strider looked kind of weak. I didn't really have any interest in playing as that. And Mage, I went, I know what this is going to be like, and I'm going to hate it.
Yeah. Mage is a lot of buff. You're the party's bitch, basically. And there is a party, because when you exit, you get your first pawn. Now, it's not your player-created pawn. You have to wait until a little bit later to get that pawn. But a pawn is basically another player, kind of. It's not controlled by anyone. It's controlled by AI. And they're basically like hollow shells of people. And they're just this race who... They exist in the world because multiple people talk about them. Like, people have led... like mercenary things of pawns, but they don't follow orders correctly. Like they're kind of dumb. The only person who can control pawns correctly is this person called the Arisen, who you're kind of told is the chosen one, kind of. That's not spoiler alert. Again, I assume anytime anybody listens to this podcast, you don't care about spoilers, but that's not really true. It really has nothing. You're chosen in the fact that like somebody picked you, but you're not the chosen one by God who is destined to beat the odds. Like, that's not what an Arisen is. But you're told that it's a chosen one, and you're given a pawn, and you get to make a pawn. Pawns serve the role as, like, if you're a fighter, you're going to want, like, a mage pawn at the very least, and then probably a strider pawn, and then a different kind of pawn. You know, it just kind of depends on the situation, but... they follow you around like an RPG party, and you can teach them things. They learn all kinds of bullshit. They learn, like, if you're a fighter and your pawn is a fighter, they'll fight like how you fight. So if you always jump into the fray, like, immediately and just attack all the little things, they'll do the exact same thing. If you jump on stuff and just start hammering on weak points, they'll do the exact same thing, and they'll just ignore all the little guys and leave them up to you. So it's a really strange system. There's no real feedback as to what they are and are not learning, which is kind of the cryptic part.
Well, you get to use those little chairs to kind of tell them what to do.
Vaguely, but they learn really specific things too. Like they learn always shoot fire onto griffin wings, but they have to learn that from you.
Well, like I never did that, so
yeah, it's very, very weird, vague stuff. Like, depending on certain enemies, like what certain enemies are weak to, what certain strategies work for certain enemies. They learn things like if you pick up a deer and you throw a deer, the pawns will learn to rush over, pick up the deer, and do the exact same thing for seemingly no reason.
They're similar in fashion to like amiibos, where you kind of, you create it and you can kind of pick some of its moves, and then it learns from you. The Smash
Brothers version.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. The amiibo fighters.
Yeah.
Because you kind of pick their movesets, I think. You can vary them a little.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that is lying on the game's part in Smash Brothers, but like, it is very similar to that.
It just seemed like that's a small similar.
Yeah, well, because that's how they advertise. They said, if you use air moves a lot, your fighter will use air moves a lot.
Yeah.
Again, I don't really know how much of that is them just going, well, I'm just going to use the best move for the situation. But,
yeah, I don't know anything about. I don't know anything about the story.
I would say pawns and how the game is actually played, which is you have a light attack, a heavy attack, which you'll never use unless you're in the air. I never use it ever.
I only used one move each time I had it. Thing.
Yeah,
because most of the moves didn't work very well.
Anyway. And then, depending on your class, you get abilities for that weapon. So this is, I guess, the most involved part of the game is the fact that it's kind of very similar to starting with Final Fantasy 3. I don't think 1 and 2 have this. The job systems? It's kind of like a job system in Final Fantasy. So, what?
Those games you played.
I did play 3.
You played 3?
Yes.
Which one?
The DS version.
6?
No, 3, real 3.
Oh, the remake?
Yes.
Oh, that's not the real one. That's a remake.
Okay. Well, does 6 even have a job system?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. God damn. All right. Well, I think 3, 4. I don't know anything about 5.
I think 5 has it too.
3, 4, 5, Bravely Default, Final Fantasy 14. All those games have a job system, and job system is basically, you are a gunner. You're going to learn the gunner abilities, and then you'll get these extra abilities on the side, and you'll be able to switch those abilities over to a new class, and you can kind of sort of break the game like that, or make the game a lot easier by creating your perfect class or your perfect job. So Dragon's Dogma is very similar, except there's only 9 jobs total.
Yeah, because
3, and 3. Yeah, so you have 9 jobs, but all of their augments, they're called, can be passed along to any class. So plus 20% magic is something that can only be learned by a sorcerer, but you can pass it on to magic archer or magic knight and gain all the benefits from it. However, if you go into the fighter class and learn some sword skills, the sword skills will be passed on to magic knight, or if you learn strider dagger skills like 100 Kisses, which is a really, really good skill that I don't think you ever got.
Nope.
It just slashes like a million dimes.
Only striders get it.
Yeah. So if you get that dagger skill as a strider, you'll be able to use it as an assassin with a dagger. Even though the assassin doesn't learn 100 Kisses, you'll still be able to use previously learned abilities.
Yeah, because my assassin knows all my fighter's techniques.
Yeah, exactly. So beyond that, pawns can only learn these 6 classes, which are strider, fighter, mage, sorcerer, warrior, and longbowman. I don't remember what they're called, but they're the ones with the big bows. That's what my pawn was. And then you can learn 3 additional classes beyond those, which are magic knight, magic archer, and assassin. Those ones are typically the best ones to be. They just seem the most broken, just in general. I mean, like, assassin can not one shot, but can solo the final boss of the game. Like, really, the final boss of the game, assassins can solo. Like, they're really good. Magic archers can solo all of pretty much Bitter Black Isle, with the exception maybe of the final boss, which they might have a little bit of a problem with, but probably not. They'll probably still just solo it anyway. But I think that covers all the gameplay. I mean, that's really the gameplay. You walk around, you get quests.
Yeah.
The focus is clearly on the action parts and the pawns.
To me, it feels very MMO-y. Even after playing the whole game, it still felt MMO-y, where you select an ability and you perform the ability. It never really felt like a combo system or anything like that to me. And I tried chaining them together, but most of the times they wouldn't cancel out unless I had a reset. So it was just waiting till I could do the next one. It was very strange that's how it played. I don't know. It just, like, you would, if it was on a keyboard, you'd hit number 1 and you would do your attack. You'd hit number 2, you'd do the next attack. Where you have your basic click for your basic attack. Like, it felt, with the entire RPG elements and everything, it just felt like I was playing an MMO offline.
I would highly disagree with that notion, but that's because I can kind of see what you're saying. I mean, that goes with every single RPG, so I don't really understand why it's an MMO when you could say it looks like Baldur's Gate at that point, because it does the exact same thing,
but
except slower.
Yeah, but this felt something about it, like even just its base, like the gameplay, like the way it moved, and sometimes like my actions didn't line up quite right. Always felt like an MMO's type of action, without the targeting, because I mean, targeting would have really helped in this game, because there was often times where I was doing dagger attacks and I would just fly past an enemy and I'm attacking nothing, and I'm like, okay, I was lined up really well, but now I'm over here fighting a stump for no reason, and then I would hit it again, fly off in another direction, and go,
MMOs
okay,
all have targeting, so why is that MMO-y if it all has targeting?
I'm just saying, like, there are just certain elements of the game.
I think that doesn't work, like, but I don't think that makes it feel like an MMO.
The quests and the combat all felt very MMO inspired. Like, it just, like, everything's a fetch quest. There's never any more depth to it than that. Or kill things. Fetch quests and kill X amount of monsters quests.
A huge difference in this game that needs to be said right away, which is there are main quests, there are main story quest things, and then there are side quests.
Like every game.
Yeah, correct. The main quests never feel like that. They are not just random fetch quests. They are always...
Go get a ring. Go to kill some people. Like, they always feel like fetch quests or kill something.
In that case, then Dark Souls is a fetch quest. Go ring a bell.
Sure.
But, like, that's pointless because then every RPG gets broken down.
But, like,
in
that game benefits from having interesting combat and enemies, where this one has boring
interesting
combat
and enemies.
Boring enemies, yeah.
It has interesting combat. I don't Jesus. I don't... First of all, basic attack, that makes no sense because they are timing-based.
Yeah.
So it is not... You can't just sit there and click. So that doesn't make any sense. You can't just sit there and click.
But that's how I played it. There's a timing system to it?
Yeah, there's a whole timing system to it. Very similar to DMC or even Bayonetta, where the timing of your attacks depends on what attacks come out. There's an entire timing system inside the basic attacks.
Well, I never played it that way.
Well, that's not the game's fault then.
Well, why didn't it tell me about it?
It did. It legitimately does.
When?
Right in the beginning. Whether or not you pay attention to it doesn't mean anything. Like,
well,
it's not.
It's not. It doesn't feel like that the system even exists when I'm playing it. After that point,
you can even get new core abilities that change how those operate and add new strings to them.
Because it never felt like my attacks did anything different throughout the game.
That's because this game expects a certain amount out of the player, for sure. Right off the bat, it expects for you to say, or I'm sorry, it expects for it to provide you with information and for you to take that information and use it correctly.
Is that when you are fighting the Chimera at the beginning that it teaches you that?
Yeah, it does. It says, kill the snake first, kill the goat first, then kill the lion head.
Because, well, I understand that, but that's not timing. That's just an order of sequence.
No. I'm saying, just in general, the game assumes that it's going to give you information and then you are going to use it correctly.
Well.
This game is... The one thing that can be said about it, good or bad, is that it does not care if you can do something. It is not afraid of telling the player that they are wrong.
I mean, I played the whole game without doing it the way it's supposed to be, and it seems like I beat the game.
Yeah, but how much longer did it take you? Because you can kill chimeras, like, instantaneously.
I think basically. I have 22 hours logged.
But, like, all you did was complain about how long everything took.
Yeah, it was boring.
Yeah, things don't have to be. Well, that's the thing, like, if you try to kill a golem with all sorcerers, you will be there for hours. Hours.
Yeah.
Because it's not afraid to be like, this is a golem made of magic. Its sigils are made of magic. Your magic isn't going to do shit against them. But if you're a team of striders, you kill golems instantaneously.
Well, I understand that because I'm switching classes, but I didn't know anything about time-based combat.
Oh, but the timing-based...
Like, I understand I need to switch out my party depending on who I'm fighting. I did that a lot.
You're going to experiment.
I would drop all my party members and do something completely different just to see if that would help.
Not only do the core skills tell you that there's a timing-based element to them, all you have to do is read them. I'm not saying that it's... What?
Which I never did. I never read.
Bayonetta never tells you that there's a timing-based combo system.
No, but you can
infer it.
But I didn't sense that with this.
Why?
It never felt like what I was doing when I did it, or if there was a sequence. If I chained attacks,
I can't speak for you when it comes to sensing it. I don't know. I've played this game twice now. I've played this game once. Actually, I guess kind of 3 times. I'd say 2.5 times. I played once vanilla Dragon's Dogma.
Before Dark Arisen?
Correct, which is a hell that you'll never, thankfully, know.
Yeah.
Dark Arisen on PS3, which, while much better, has a frame rate of 20 frames per second. Sometimes much less. And on the computer now, which with a frame rate of 60 frames, it looks great, beautiful, all that bullshit. And I can say the first moment I booted up the standard Dragon's Dogma on Xbox 360, I played around with the combat system, like instantly. And I figured out that light attacks chain into each other. Heavy attacks have totally different effects if they're in the air or on the ground. Like, all kinds of nonsense. I don't know. I think that this game expects you to experiment, which is the whole point of that pawn system. It says, go ahead, go out and experiment. Your pawns will learn things while you do it. Like, it wants you to experiment with all things, not just like tactics in battle or different elements. It wants you to just, in general, experiment and try new things and kind of create your own experience. I don't think it's fair to say, this game is boring. It does this and does this, does this. It does all those things. You just have to find them. Now, whether or not it teaches you those correctly is a totally different story.
If it's not teaching you and I don't discover it, it's still boring to me.
I mean, I guess, but I think it's more fair to point out what about that is wrong versus like it's just boring in general when easily like you could have figured those out. It just didn't do something that worked for you to discover those things.
No, and like the game got fun at one point. To its credit, I started to have a lot of fun. At some point, when I got my assassin leveled up, and I started to get moves that were like, oh, these moves are actually useful because I was getting a bunch of moves that I just didn't need, like aerial attacks. Like, I'm not fighting anything in the air right now for a while. Like, I've been doing all these other things. Like, the fighter got a lot of that, like skyward attack and a couple others. And I'm like, I'm not going to use this right now. And then when I do need it, I have it, I guess. But it just like I kept referring to like 2 attacks. I was like, oh, I didn't really feel like oh, I'm going to need it. And I never really needed the 3rd attack for stuff. But like, somewhere towards the middle and end of the game, I started to really go, oh, this is kind of fun. Like, I don't know what it was, because I still don't think I was doing anything timing-based with my attacks, but there was somewhere where I was like, oh,
you don't
this is...
have to. It's just, it is a system. It is not just...
Yeah.
Everything in this game is deeper than it looks like at first glance. Everything combat-based at the very least. Like, everything gameplay-wise is deeper than like, oh yeah, I'm just going to kill goblins and I fight an ogre. But all of those things have a lot more depth to them than when you first look at them, when you first boot up the game. Like, yeah, I just attack a goblin until it dies. Or I can teach mages to enchant all my rangers with, I guess they are called rangers. I don't know. Striders or rangers with fire, and they'll just instantly kill any goblin I come across from a distance, and I'll never have to worry about it ever again. Like, there are all these little things, and they're all like weird quality of life improvements that just help to, like, I don't know, it's very odd. It knows that parts of its game are boring. Like, it's aware of it and goes, would you like to, you know, if you figure it out, then it's great. Like, it's weird. It has this weird dichotomy between really boring and really, really interesting. And it's just like, if you want it to be really interesting, it wants you to put the work into it. And that's maybe not good that it does that, but I find it interesting.
That's stuff that you would need a second playthrough to really understand, I feel, because you want to experiment. Like, there's no way for like a fighter to do the fire thing easily. Like,
well, the vast majority of mages, the first thing they learn is fire for goblins.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, as you go deeper and deeper into the game, you run into a lot more enemies the pawns don't know what to do, you don't know what to do, and you kind of just slog through them. But you can also, it should be noted, you can summon pawns. All the pawns that you can summon, I mean, there are NPC pawns as well for people playing offline. But if you're online, almost all of the pawns that you can summon are other people's pawns. You can summon higher level pawns, lower level pawns if you really want to. And what they do is, depending on that person, they know different things. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to go through the crypt and kill a bunch of zombies, but I've never fought a zombie. I'd like to hire a pawn that knows exactly what to do with zombies and skeletons.
Yeah.
You can you just get a pawn that knows those things, and your whole party learns faster because they know it.
Yeah.
Like, it's those weird little things. Like, you don't necessarily need a second playthrough, especially because the pawns are so goddamn vocal constantly.
Well, they repeat the same thing over and over.
But it's them. And I understand, like, yes, it's super fucking annoying. I'm not going to say anything except that it's super fucking annoying. At the same time, I understand what they're going for. Every time their AI notices, hey, you should be doing X, Y, and Z, it tells you should be doing X, Y, and Z. Like, goblins are weak to fire, wolves hunt in packs, bullshit like that. Like, they're trying to teach you things. And if you get higher level pawns, which generally for me what it is I have my pawn, and then I hire another pawn that's my level, usually like a fighter, and then a mage or a sorcerer or something that's a little bit higher level. That way they know a little bit more. They teach my pawn and the other pawn some more stuff. And at the same time as I level, I don't have to get new pawns constantly. So it's like I only get a couple new pawns at a time versus like every level getting new pawns. And they teach my me and my pawn a little bit more. Like, it just depends on, I don't know, how you want to approach the game. It's kind of unfortunate that there is a wrong way to approach this game, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's how games really should be, but there is a wrong way to approach the game.
Which is entirely the way I played it. Not
entirely. I've seen people who are just like, yeah, I don't understand. Like, I'm just fighting the ogre. Like, I'm just hitting his feet.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. It's taking me 6 hours to kill an ogre. Well, and it's like,
I read
jump
on
his goddamn...
When I was first playing, like when it had come out and I was reading reviews and people were like, this game makes absolutely no sense. And I was like, I don't think that's true. I get like that there's stuff. I understood I need to crawl on things, and which sometimes worked and sometimes didn't for some reason. Like sometimes I just wouldn't grab on, even though it clearly should have. Like I thought that was really annoying. And I would have full stamina. Like, well, maybe I didn't have stamina, but then I'd do it again and go, oh no, it's still not connecting for some reason.
I thought the climbing was pretty spot on. I've never had a moment where I wanted to climb on something that I didn't catch it.
Yeah, I would miss a lot for some reason, and I was like, I don't know if that's my class. I feel like I had a lot easier time once I went assassin, but as a fighter, it just wouldn't connect every time, and it was kind of annoying.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea if classes affect it.
Yeah, I'd have to look into it, or maybe again, I always have the strange experiences with games. They just kind of do things on their own, regardless of what I tell it to do, and that's normal. I'm used to that, but it was just kind of strange. Like there was like an early ogre I fought like down in a crypt, and it just would not connect when I tried to latch onto him, and I was like, I'm getting real pissed. And then he would go chase off my strider into a pit of oblivion.
Yeah,
and I was like, I really wish you went with her, because two birds, one stone would have been all right, because I could have just gotten a new character and ignored her, and not have to give her a skull gift as I often do.
The basic story of the game, now that we've covered gameplay, is like I said, a dragon comes, takes your heart. You go to Grand Soren, you realize, oh, there's a bunch of fucking monsters everywhere, which there aren't normally a bunch of monsters everywhere in this land.
Yeah.
I think there are normally goblins, but they're not normally fucking, organized or anything like that.
And hobgoblins have now appeared, which are scary.
And wolves are normal, stuff like that, but like harpies, so like there are some magical creatures that exist just in general, but not
in the amount that you see here.
Exactly. And especially like it's made pretty clear that like there are a bunch of monsters like hydras and shit that normally wouldn't be here.
Like, well, it's like us like right now. Oh yeah, we know what those things are.
Yeah.
But then to have them suddenly show up, it's
everywhere.
What?
Yeah, exactly. So you make your way to the capital city in this area, which is fucking ravaged, I guess, technically.
Yeah.
They kind of make a point out of it. The big thing to realize with this game is like it feels half the time, I would say maybe 75% of the time, that like story is on the back burner. Like it just doesn't present things well. It doesn't have very good presentation.
No.
It has maybe some of the worst presentation in a game I've ever seen. Like things happen that should be much more interesting that just aren't.
Well, yeah. Like that was probably my biggest problem, was finding the motivation to do things in the game was hard, because it's like I don't really care about combat. Like I don't really want to fight things. I play an RPG for story. I can get past combat if I'm interested in what's going on. And that's kind of what drove me towards the latter half, is it started to go, I'm interested in this thing that we're going to talk about right now, I guess. The cult.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a cool thing.
On your way to Grand Soren, you realize that, hey, it's this guy in a black robe is making these monsters attack you and attack things in general.
I call them colloquially Sadler.
Sadler. Yes, it does remind me a lot of Sadler, actually.
I just wish he had the staff with the eyeball on it.
He's just this cloaked guy, but they're called Salvation.
Yeah.
And they're kind of at the forefront of a lot of story quests, and even some not story quests. Just this cult who are trying to bring about the end of the world. What they say is, I guess humans in general want the world to end so badly that they have brought forth the dragon.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, oh wow, like
they're like a very nihilistic cult.
Exactly. They say we're trying to help the dragon because that's what people want. Yeah. The dragon wouldn't be here if people didn't want the dragon to be here.
Yeah.
And so you get to Grand Soren. You help with what's called the worm hunt. A bunch of weird little systems are introduced, forgeries.
Yeah.
This game has so many odd little systems and things that
you may never even see.
Yeah, I can't possibly. We're not going to go over all of them.
No, because I didn't see any of them.
Forgeries are especially cool. I think that's the only one I want to bring up is forgeries. In fact, just because you get a worm hunt license. This is a really simple one.
Yeah.
In regards to this, you get a worm hunt license. This lets you take part in quests. It also gives you a 10% off in all shops. However, at the end of the worm hunt quest line, you have to give the worm hunt license back to say, okay, I'm done with the worm hunt, which means you'd also be giving your 10% off back. So you can make a forgery of a quest item, because you can make a forgery of any item in the game.
Yeah.
For any a price. Any item, just period. You can just make a forgery. And so he makes a forgery of the worm hunt license. You can give him the forgery, or it doesn't matter which one you give him, but you'll still have 10% off, even though you completed the quest. And that is something that, you can really kind of only do that on a second playthrough.
Yeah, I didn't
really realize the extent of forgeries.
And I was curious because I also got a token that gave me an 8% off, and I was wondering if that stacked.
It does.
Okay.
You can go nuts with the forgeries. You can. Another notable example is later on you get a ring that's the king's ring, and you have to give him the ring back. The ring is super fucking good if you are anything that casts spells.
Yeah.
It cuts the time that it takes to cast a spell by 20%. Might be 10, but feels like 20. As long as it's in your inventory. Doesn't even have to be equipped. You can give him a forgery of the ring. If you do, he can't open a chest because it's not his ring. So you can't get one of the mantles. You can steal it, but that's a whole nother fucking story.
Yeah, and I had it, and I didn't wear it for that long anyway, so I don't feel like it was that important of an item.
In the original Dragon's Dogma, it is the best item it's the best mantle in the whole game.
Oh, maybe it was, but I feel like I got something I was like, oh, this is better, or it did different stats that I wanted, so I went with it instead.
So basically, you get to Grand Soren, which is the capital city. You do the worm hunt stuff, which is basically you go around and you investigate the cult, or you figure out what this tablet says. Eventually you meet the, what's his name? The Dragon Forged?
Yeah.
You meet this guy.
He's very forgettable.
I don't think he's forgettable. I always remember that. I just forget his name. I always remember his pawn for the thing that he says in the beginning, which is I know, you know, I know, you know that I know.
Well, that's the point in the game where I realized that running was a viable option for most things. I can just run to things, and I'll be all right.
I mean, the game tells you multiple times if you're having trouble with anything, run.
Yeah, and not run away, but just run, and you'll be all right.
No, I mean, you're running away always. It says run away, It says there's nothing wrong with running away. I think 90% of loading screens say that. There's no problem. Just run away.
But I would run forward,
which is technically running away from the problem.
Progress, yeah, and it was interesting. Yeah. I did that 5-6 times throughout the game.
There's a drake in the woods in one of the areas you didn't go to, near the Shadow Fort, I think is what it's called. I forgot kind of. But there's a drake in those woods who's super fucking hard at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
So you're expected to run away from it. There's also a chimera in those woods, a million hobgoblins. It's okay to run away is what this game is telling you.
Yeah.
This game takes everything it says super seriously. It's okay to run away from things. That doesn't mean if you're a good player, you can, technically that is true. If you're a good player, you can probably kill anything, but you'd have to be really good. If you're just playing the game, it's not fucking around. Run. It's okay, is what it's telling you.
Yeah.
It's very, very unique, in my opinion, to have a game that's this truthful about its mechanics.
Honest about its mechanics?
Yes, honest about its mechanics. And like I said before, it's not afraid to tell you that you're wrong. Which I feel like a lot of games, if I were a sorcerer and I only had sorcerer pawns and I fought a golem, another game, a lesser game, in my opinion, would say, okay, here is an option for mages to be able to kill the golems really easy. But there is no option. You are a sorcerer. All of your stuff is magic based. you can't fuck around with goblins right. I'm sorry, golems right. Your option is either you run away or you help your pawns do it the best you can. Like, there is no option, which is very odd, I think, for a lot of RPGs that are... I think, like, with Skyrim and Fallout 4, like, Bethesda RPGs, don't worry about it. You'll be able to do it.
Yeah.
Like, it has this big, like, yeah, as long as you're playing the game, you'll always be able to do what you want to do. And this game is not afraid to say no. Like, you are a fighter. You're going to have a really hard time against griffins.
Yeah.
Because they just fly the fuck away from you. It's not afraid to say that, which I really respect about it.
Because I feel like the griffin fight, I really had to rely on my pawns to do all the damage.
Yeah.
And anytime it came down, I would run up and try and grab on, which wouldn't work with my fighter. And then, and then I'd slash at it if I could. Yeah,
I mean, like, and you probably you have a lot easier time with a lot of things versus, especially in tight corridors, where if you're a sorcerer, which I was for a lot of the game before I became Magic Knight, as a sorcerer, it's really hard to be in confined areas because all of your stuff has wind up. But it's way easier to kill things like griffins because you just nuke them. they like entire health bars fall off. Like,
that's what I was gonna say. Is like, as a fighter, I was really good with close quarters combat, but when I shifted over to assassin, I had a lot of issues with close quarter combat, which is the majority of the end game is close quarters. It felt like there were these very tiny arenas, like no arenas except for like one towards the end of that section. But like trying to get like fighting harpies in a hallway and trying to get like arrows off on them was next to impossible before they would just latch onto my face. So you have to kind of like be careful and pick your strategies well, and pray that you have really good pawns for when you're retarded like I am and don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, pawns help a lot. Surprisingly, they seem when you start the game to be just mindless.
They really felt pointless to me. I was like, why can't I just do it myself?
Yeah,
and then their usefulness will come out when you start to get the better pawns, people who have already done things.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, okay, because they have the strategies. And I would find scrolls that would enhance their abilities against things. Like I got one to fight griffins.
Yeah.
So now all the pawns in my party have learned a strategy for griffins because I found this scroll, which I thought was kind of interesting. And I used it, and I made people better. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, and what's cool about the online elements that kind of feel like almost Dark Souls-y, but not really. Like, this came out after Dark Souls, but like...
Yeah.
It has this kind of... If you teach a pawn something, when they go back to their world next time that person rests, they'll have learned that.
Yeah.
You actively make other people's pawns better, which is kind of a nice feeling.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Because mine came back and he had all kinds of weird things he could do, and I was like, oh, you're good now.
Your pawn was really good. I liked your pawn a lot.
He didn't learn from me, that's for sure.
That's not true. Like, okay, so pawns learn better when you are the same vocation as them.
Yeah.
So you were a fighter and your pawn was a fighter for at least 20 levels.
Yeah.
And when you started a little bit before me, and then I went into the game because I kind of knew that like I'd be able to go through stuff a little bit faster. I picked up your pawn when I was that level, and he had been, up until that point, the best fighter that I had used, because all he did was learn from you how to be a fighter.
How to take his time to beat things to death.
Well, I mean, it works. It's a very strange little system.
Yeah. I just think the combat was very foreign to me for some reason, especially going into it as an RPG.
Weird. It's a weird game.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Everything about it is bizarre.
Yes. I would definitely agree with that. Like, everything about this game is not what you would normally expect from a game.
It subverts your expectations, especially if you're coming from any modern RPG now, besides like
people refer to it as Skyrim and Dark Souls mixed
CRPGs,
together.
My bad.
But I would say that's really, like, if you go from Dark Souls to here, combat's way too fast.
Yeah.
If you go from Skyrim to here,
combat's way too hard.
Combat's way too hard and slow comparatively. If you come from, a character action game, combat is not nearly as in depth as that. Like, it's this weird niche
not
between
enough. What's it called?
Umami.
What?
Not enough what?
What's the what's the prompt in the middle of a cutscene?
Oh, QTEs.
Yeah, QTEs.
They're actually really... Yeah, there aren't really.
No,
there's one little section it doesn't have the prompts on the screen even.
Yeah.
When you climb up the dragon, but regardless. But like it's this weird niche between 3 different genres, and it really depends person to person. As you can see, I love Dragon's Dogma. It's super flawed, but I love it. Jake doesn't.
No, not at all.
But that's because it's really weird, and it's a hard game to kind of recommend to people because of that. Like, there's no way to know if you're gonna like it or not.
Yeah, and if not this show that we're doing, I would have stopped.
Yeah,
early and maybe never have gone back to it, or taken a year off from it and came back with a fresh start to it after kind of knowing in my mind what it is, and just starting over and playing it again and going, oh, okay, like I just got to ignore all my expectations.
Yeah.
Like after, like have them crushed and then go back, like similar, like when I played Mass Effect, I didn't want to play it. I was like, oh, this is boring.
1?
Yeah, Mass Effect 1.
Yeah.
I was very bored by it, and then the second one came out, and I went, I should try it again, because everybody, I mean, they got enough money to make a second one somehow. So.
I think the Mass Effect 1, I really...
Because that's another game that's massively flawed.
Yes.
But I think
I agree.
Really good once you get past that, and you see that it has interesting concepts in it. It's just got problems, and that's what I think this game has, even though it's had 3 releases. Well, I'm surprised that it's still as bizarre as it is.
None of them were new, and I would never want a Dragon's Dogma game that wasn't bizarre. But I would like one that had better presentation in general.
For something like as complicated it is, I would have really liked it to have a full-on tutorial system, because there is a lot of systems. And it's like,
I kind of like that you figure them out on your own.
Yeah, or you don't, like me.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, I would prefer to keep it more of a Dark Souls tone where you can figure stuff out on your own.
Yeah.
But it's not as obtuse, or if things are super obtuse, like in Dark Souls, they're usually not that important. They're just cool.
What I really liked about Dark Souls is I could have someone help me, and without communication, they would help me figure out the puzzles and the different things and how to defeat things just by watching someone.
Yeah.
And I really like that, whereas here I had to rely on these pawns to know it, and if they didn't, it's like, well, I'm shit out of luck. I don't know what to do here. Yeah. Which happened a few times, and I just had to go back and get new pawns and go, oh, I needed to use this, or etc. Yeah.
I like our talk so far, only because it so closely matches Dragon's Dogma, which is like, all right, gameplay, and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna be story for a second, and then it like goes totally off track. The entire game just goes off track, and it's like, nah, I'm about gameplay again. Like,
yeah, because I did just the main story. I did very little side quests. Like, I killed some rabbits, but then I lost the ability to do that quest, I think. So, and I was interested in some of the side quests, but not enough that I would go out of my way to figure them out. So,
some of the side quests are cool, but they're few and far between. Most of the side quests are MMO bullshit.
Yeah,
like that's the truth.
That's what it felt like to me. Like, just seeing them, I was like, yeah,
they're just there to, you pick them up, like the Harpies one. You pick them up as you go north of Grand Soren because you're gonna kill a bunch of Harpies. That's where the Harpies are. Like, yeah, you just you get some extra XP by planning in advance and getting the quests that you need to get. Mm-hmm. That's the game's kind of rewarding you for it. Again, I don't think it does the best job of it. The idea and the heart is in the right place with them.
This game does not reward you in the slightest. It felt.
It depends. If you really know what you're doing, like, it really rewards you.
But if you know that ring is super good, then yeah, you got rewarded for doing it.
It tells you that it's. If you read that and go, holy shit, 20% off my casting time.
I completely forgot about. I didn't need it, but I forgot about the forgeries.
Right.
So it was like, oh, that system's there, but it's forgettable if you don't. It's buried down an alleyway. Like, it's not something I walk by, and that's fine. I get that. Like, that's like a reason to play it again is for all these extra systems on top of it.
And you don't need it, but it's just one of those really awesome things where the game is clearly not really meant to be totally beaten. And when I say that, we beat it. We did not totally beat it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the weird things about it, especially because I got stuck on a part, and I was like, I'm going to look it up. I know this game's got like 100 FAQs. Let me go look it up. And that was a bad idea because I got more confused because none of the FAQs were written in any sane language that I could understand. I was like, there was this one that I was using that was like 32 steps, 18 steps, and I'd go, what does this mean? And go in, and there's all these steps to a quest, and I'm like, listen, I've been doing a lot of quests. There's not steps in them like this.
Yeah.
This person has a problem, and I think it's Dragon's Dogma.
The people who like Dragon's Dogma
are horrible people.
They're insane. Which, and I'm part of that group of people who are just like, I look at things, and then people are just like, yeah, their master works all, and I'm like, I can't help myself. Like, I know it's dumb, but like, there's something so endearing about the game for people who like it.
Yeah.
And there's something that's just really off-putting for people who don't. And like, both ways, totally understand.
Because I really like weird stuff, but it just wasn't clicking with me. And then when it did, that was the problem. Are we at the end game, basically?
No, I didn't even get to, let me do some quick stories so we can get to the end
that's
game.
what I was going to talk about was the story for Salvation.
You get to Grand Soren, you do some Salvation stuff. Is that what you're going to talk about? Like,
yeah, I was going to talk about the Salvation quest line.
Oh, okay. Starting from when? Just
the
Grand
first
Soren?
one.
Okay.
Like the one where you go in the crypt.
We're talking about story again.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry for jumping around. This is going to be like one of our older episodes.
Yeah, I love it.
So you get these quests for the worm hunt, and you only have to do 2, I guess. But
yes.
The one I did was Dragon Forge, which I did real fast.
We didn't even talk about Dragon Forge. I brought it up.
You brought it up and we didn't talk about it.
No, I'm sorry. The Dragon Forge is a guy. You meet him. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. He's forgettable, like I said. He doesn't do anything.
Well, he's some weirdo in a cliff face, and you don't really know anything about him.
When he tells you lore,
some really
none of the lore
stuff.
Made sense to me, I don't think.
The
Maybe
lore's
it
my
does
favorite
if I understand now. Like, if I go back and read it now, it might make sense, but it was like, what?
I think the lore is really cool. But
I feel like I had an aneurysm reading it, but anyway. So then one of the other quests you can of 4. There's like I forget what the other 2 were because I didn't do them.
Water God's Altar.
They sounded interesting, but someone on my Twitch stream said just do those, and I went okay.
I'm sure they were the 2 easiest ones.
Yeah,
or the 2 quickest.
So
ones.
like it was to go like find this cult. Which was cool because I was like, oh, this one I was interested in because you go around the town and you talk to people. Yeah. And they were like, oh, yeah, that cult. And I was like, yeah, tell me about it. And like, I can't tell you. I was like, well, fuck you.
But fuck you.
But eventually someone tells you, they meet in the crypt. And I was like, well, that was obvious. Why didn't I just go there? That seems like an obvious place to find someone. Why didn't someone just say, yeah, there's a crypt. I bet there's like evil guys in there.
Well, okay.
Like the rest of the landscape.
I think it's fair to point out at this point, especially, this game had a nothing budget. Like, a nothing budget, and then when they were halfway done with the game, Capcom was like,
no more budget.
Release it. The game world is like 2 times smaller than it was supposed to be, and it is not... the original design documents for this game were like, every square inch had stuff.
Yeah.
Like... there was no boring part of the landscape, but like it got so cut down so fast that of course they meet in the crypt because that's all there is. Like,
yeah.
It's not supposed to be as barren as it is.
And so you go to the crypt and you fight the Bone Warriors.
The Bone Lord. Ballsack and his Bone Lord.
You go in, you fight a bunch of skeletons and zombies. Skeletons were way more fun to fight because they just died, and zombies were meat shields. They took forever to die.
Holy fire.
Well, I didn't have it, so...
Well, that's not the game's fault.
I was a fighter. How could I have it?
Well, mages. Take mages that teach you fire.
But, whatever. Anyway.
You have to look for it.
I didn't.
That's the whole thing is like, yeah, zombies are meat shields. If you... like, you're going to a crypt, you know there's zombies in there. Like,
yeah, but I don't know what holy fire does, so...
Well, no, you just get either fire, which every mage pawn has fire affinity. Like, I've never seen one that doesn't. Or holy affinity, which is rare, but, like, instantly kills them.
Yeah.
But, like, it's one of those times where, like, the game doesn't need to be frustrating.
Yeah. I feel like the pawns I was getting were people playing also as a mage that never used those things, so their pawns never did.
It depends. And certain inclinations make them do different things. Because
my pawns would sometimes have fire swords, and I went, oh, I wish I had that. And then I got a fire sword, and I went, oh, cool.
No, yeah, fighters have
that was really convenient that I got this sword that shoots fire now. Yeah. But, so yeah, I fought a bunch of zombies, did all that stuff, and then you get to the end, and you hear him talking, the cult leader, Sadler, and he's like, oh yeah, we're doing all this stuff, and I was like sitting there, I was reading it, and I was like, that's really cool, this is interesting. And you walk out to this little catwalk, and immediately it explodes, and you're like, holy shit, what the hell? And all the congregation destroyed, they're all killed and turned into bone warriors, and I was like, whoa, this is really cool.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, I like that stuff, like I like culty stuff, like that's really cool. And like the guy just sacrificed all these people, and they're like, we were just your dudes, and you killed us. Like I like that. They're just so expendable.
I love Salvation.
Yeah,
I love everything about them.
So then, like, I was like, that's really cool. So you fight all these. You fight Ballsack, I think, or you just hit him and he dies. Like everybody in that cult, which I love too. Like, oh,
they're just people.
Yeah, like they're not strong
people.
And then you have to murder a guy or not murder a guy. I was very confused about that.
Yeah, I got to him and I was like.
And I was like, I'll kill him because I don't care.
Yeah.
So I did. But I guess if you don't, that guy gets mad. That's it. He just gets mad because he's not relevant again.
Nope.
And that was the thing, like, because I was reading, like, because I looked it up afterwards. I'm like, was that important? Because that guy never came back. And they're like, no, that's it. That choice is meaningless. And I was like, thanks. I'm glad that I had a moral choice that has no moral choice in the end.
Well, I mean, it's still a moral choice
for yourself, yes, but
yeah,
it just felt weird. Like
something
I was hoping like something useful would come out of it, like a further quest line or an end of a quest line. Again, I have to realize that this game has no logic in its questing.
The game has its own logic. It doesn't care if you are following it at all.
No,
it never cares. It's a very uncaring game.
Yeah. So you do that quest, and you head back to Grand Soren, and by this point you should hopefully have completed the worm hunt.
Right, hopefully.
And you turn in your worm license like I did and go talk to the king, who strangely didn't want to talk to you, even though before this you were doing important things. You'd seem like this guy would want to talk to you.
Right.
But he doesn't, and you're like, okay.
Which make a lot of this game is like, yeah, it makes sense later, but it doesn't take the time ever to make it feel like it might make sense later.
No.
It just presents it like, here's a king who doesn't give a shit about you. That's how it's presented as, which is really odd.
Again, it's one of those things that was very off-putting to me that I went, I don't want to play this.
Yeah.
And again, there's a reason it took so long for me to get to the point that I beat this game, because it's just like everything about this is grinding against me from wanting to complete it. Like everything is wrong to me.
They bring you to court and they treat you like an asshole.
Yeah.
But which makes sense, but only in retrospect, which is very odd. Like I wish they took the time. Well, they couldn't, but I understand that, but I still wish that they had taken their time to make it make sense while still presenting. I understand that the scene makes sense, and it's nice that it's kind of realistic. Like
I might have confused two quests together there, actually. I feel like you go back to that crypt to fight Ballsack.
You might. Yeah, either way, you go to a crypt, you fight Ballsack. My favorite villain of all time, Ballsack.
And it progresses the story. So you fight the king. You go to the king and you talk to his chairman, and he says, "Yeah, now you gotta do some
quests.
Here's some more quests. Some are relevant, some aren't, and once you beat them, none of which I feel like were memorable except
Blue
the
Moon
trial.
Tower is fucking cool.
Yeah,
I like Blue Moon Tower. Blue Moon Tower is one of those quests, and you have to fight all the way to the north, and then when you
go south, then north.
No, from Grand Soren, you go north,
south to go fight the Griffin, then you go north.
Whatever, you fight the Griffin.
It's a long quest.
It's a hugely long quest. You fight the Griffin, it flies away to Blue Moon Tower. I don't understand. I still don't understand why this particular Griffin is so important, but whatever.
Right after that, there's like 100 of them everywhere, and I was like, what?
Well, no, they're always there.
Oh, well, they weren't there when I ran up there.
They are. Well, no, not at Blue Moon Tower. There's always Griffins around.
But like weren't on my way to Blue Moon?
Uh-huh.
I didn't see one.
No, it's not on your way to Blue Moon. If you exit Grand Soren,
there was one.
If you in the morning, right?
Yeah.
If you go right from right when you wake up, straight out Grand Soren's exit, like the main exit, there's usually a griffin there.
Yeah.
But it's a different griffin than the Blue Moon Tower griffin.
Clearly.
But it's just kind of odd that, like, he's still there, and he's there in the beginning of the game, and, like, that griffin doesn't seem to matter.
So you go to Blue Moon. There's a huge...
You fight all the way north, and then you go through all these canyons. You fight all these fucking really hard people. And
or you
golems,
don't.
Or you run through it like Jake.
And just get there.
Which is fine. You had a little adventure. You realized that you can fucking beat these people, and you booked it.
Oh, I was watching you do the same part, and I was like, oh, there's a Cyclops. There's all these things. And I went, man, I'm not going to be able to beat any of them. And I just ran, and I was so happy I did, because right at the end, there was a Rift Crystal, which is where you get your pawns, and I put down a Port Crystal, which we didn't explain, which are your fast travel system.
Yeah, the fast travel system in this game is that there isn't a fast travel system in this game. You walk everywhere, and then eventually in the game, you'll get things called Port Crystals, and you'll get these things called Fairy Stones, or you understand that for some weird reason in Dark Arisen, they put an Eternal Fairy Stone in your inventory that they never tell you about, which never breaks.
Yeah. Weird.
So you can use Fairy Stones to go to Port Crystals. I get to say plural only in Dark Arisen, because if we were judging Dragon's Dogma 1, Jake never would have beaten it, because there's one Port Crystal in that game.
Wow. What a horrible game.
There's one Port Crystal. You can buy them in post-game.
Wow.
But there's one Port Crystal.
Oh, that was what I was talking about.
I know.
I forgot about that. We'll get back to it.
Post-game? Yeah. So, yeah, you go to Blue Moon Tower, you go up, it's weirdly cinematic. It was the first time in the game where I was like, there's cinematic shit in this game? Like
it started to take the camera away from you, I think, at that point, which I thought was weird and confusing. I was like...
because it never does it, so it's really odd that when it does it.
And then you go fight through this tower. The tower is really fun.
Yeah, I like the tower.
Until you go back to it. And then...
then it's the same thing, so it's fine.
But harder. For some reason.
Or you just run past everything and you go, die.
Well, I couldn't run past. I tried. I took my time in the second run through. But anyway, you get to the top, you fight a griffin.
It's fun.
And you get a bunch of gold. And I was like, oh, that's dragon stuff. Where's the dragon?
Well, there is a dragon there. So, somebody never played post-game.
No. Probably never will. Thankfully.
So yeah, but there's a couple quests that are pretty memorable. I would say Blue Moon Tower is memorable. I think it's like the second. It's like the like little brother of the main quest is Blue Moon Tower. I would call it. Like it's the most involved.
Because then you do another quest right after that to go get the King's Ring.
Yeah, which you also go back to Blue Moon Tower.
You go right back there. Well, again, and there's like the ball side. They reuse assets a lot, and I was like, it feels a little annoying, but
there's only so many areas. Like that's the problem.
But I didn't go anywhere. Like there's so much stuff I didn't see, and
there's not. It feels like there's a lot, but there's really not.
Oh well.
Like you
talked about a Shadow Forest. That sounds radical.
No, Shadow Fort.
Oh,
all that is a fort. You go through a forest, but like you didn't do that. Well, that's all there is there. It's a Shadow Fort, and you never went to the Blighted Manse.
No,
or the Healing Spring all the way north.
Whatever.
That's really it.
I don't feel like I missed anything.
Not geographically.
So then you go back to Blue Moon, you fight a wizard. He dies in one hit.
Yeah, he dies really quick.
Super fast. And you get the ring, which he just happens to drop before he falls off the thing.
He was trying to become a lich.
Yeah, which is cool.
He was going to use the ring as the phylactery.
And I'm thinking this is going to connect with the cult. So I was like, this is cool. You know, we'll find out more about this later. So then you get a quest to go fight the cult at this castle. If you're new to the game, I don't think there's any other quests other than like the Fornival one.
What?
Is there another quest before you go up to the castle for the cult?
Oh, yeah.
Which one?
It's just one more little castle thing. But I'm sorry, cult thing. They go, yeah, we have a problem over here. So they make you walk all the way over there, and they go, no, we have a problem back in Grand Soren. What the fuck are you doing over here?
I forgot about that.
And so they send you back, and you fight a cockatrice. Which there's actually foreshadowing for. If you go north after the worm hunt stuff, there's actually a dead cockatrice.
Oh, cool.
Which I hadn't noticed, actually, the first time I played the game. But I noticed it later and was like, I get it now. Like, I understand why. Like, so the cult brings a cockatrice and has it blow up Grand Soren a little bit.
It's really annoying because it makes all your people turn into stone, and I go,
if you
don't have anything to save this, I gotta go pick a different pawn and get a bunch of potions.
It's a very odd moment because like they don't ever teach you how to fight cockatrices, but they really expect you to know how because they're easy, but if you fuck up really badly.
Yeah, like me, I didn't have any softeners. I didn't
exactly
have any way of solving my petrification.
Yeah, you don't know. They never tell you. They're not.
And I thought it would just go away. Oh, I'm just gonna be slowed. No, you turn to a goddamn rock and then die. And I was like, what?
Yeah, it's very strange.
Fucking hard.
Like that's one of those moments in the game where like, yeah, it doesn't care about you, but like, I really wish they had been like, I'm pretty sure it's a cockatrice. You know. They're known for their this and that, and then you had a moment to go and pick up some softener. Like,
well,
then
and
I
that's
understand.
The other thing is when
like,
you can't go into the city proper because of the fight. It's all blocked off.
Yeah, it's very strange.
So it's like you can't even go to the store to buy stuff or go. I had to go back to the first town, get things out of my storage.
Yeah, exactly.
Buy a couple things that didn't help because I couldn't get the things I needed. Like it was very annoying. Yeah.
It's a very odd moment in the game. That's the only reason I bring it up.
Yeah.
But then they go the fort at the top of the Great Wall encampment has been taken over.
Which I was fearful that I was going to have to go fight this monster again, like the Griffin fight, because you don't really defeat it; it just flies away. I think.
Yeah, you go 2 bars down and it just flies away.
And I was like, "Oh, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm already pissed." And then you head up there, right?
Yeah. The king gives you some.
He gives you some cool stuff. You walk with him, and he gives you a bunch of things. You just take it all
that you already stole.
Yeah,
if you're PJ.
And then you fight a bunch of lady bandits. They have no story.
What an odd moment! I'll never understand it. I've gotten through that section 3 times.
Yeah,
3 times.
They fight you all the way up to you get to it,
and then they don't fight you anymore.
You get to this castle, like a gate castle thing.
Yeah, like a
outpost.
away castle.
Yeah, you go through it. No one's fighting you. You're like,
no one.
Cool. And I'm like, I'm gonna explore. Maybe there's a quest here. Like, that'll be kind of cool. I'm interested. You walk into this little room right at the end, and she goes, "Fuck you," and she just kills you or tries to kill you, and you go, no, and you just murder everyone. They all run into this little room, and you just slap them all down. And I go, what is the point of this? Like, why did they throw away their lives for no reason?
So strange. And if you talk to any of them, they all give you quotes as if they were like They're like,
yeah,
it better not come here. Something weird like that. Like none of it makes sense. It's such an odd part of the game.
Like, how is that not fixed in this PC release? Like a year after, or 3 years after the other release? Like, what is going on with it?
They just released Dark Arisen.
Yeah,
they weren't like it's gonna be a brand new remaster with all new stuff and. They just released Dark Arisen.
It could have used a little bit of polish for that weirdness, but whatever. I look past it. I'm like, yeah, they didn't finish it. Whatever. I don't get it. Release your game 3 times. Don't get it right. And then you go. You make your way up the north, and you fight a chimera if you're me, which was annoying.
Or if you're also PJ, but
I wasn't sure because it seemed like I could get around him.
Yeah, you can.
But it was not. I
saw him and I was like, yeah, I'll bullite him and immediately kill him.
Well, I was trying to use my run strat. That's all I know. That's all my guy's good at is running. You get up to the castle. The castle is really cool. And this is when I was really invested in the game.
I like this whole area. I think it's a really well-made area, and I feel like it's one of the first areas they made.
Like, I was getting into it, the cockatrice threw me off, and now, like, I'm getting back into it. Like, I fought the chimera, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I can beat him. I guess the cockatrice just made me fearful of these giant beasts, but I can do it. Like, it's not that hard. Yeah. You get up there, you're fighting all these robed salvation guys. You're helping your guys that are trapped.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting thing that they threw in.
There are some weird moments where the guys like go through here and you'll go around them.
You just get extra gear in there.
So I did that, but my guys had gone straight and just fought them. So when I came out the other side, they were already dead, and I went, no sneak attack. What? Like, what's the point of this?
Again, usually those areas have extra stuff in them.
Yeah, and I figured that out, but it just seemed weird. Like the guard was as a tutorial style, like, hey, there's these extra paths.
Yeah,
but they don't do anything really. They're just supplies. And I was like, okay. You go through this whole thing. You go down to the basement. You fight somebody. You do a bunch of stuff down there.
Yeah.
You go all the way up to the top, and not Salazar. He's like Salazar Cross Sadler.
Yeah, basically. Like if they had a beautiful baby.
Yeah, a really beautiful baby.
A beautiful, like, chubby baby.
He's up there and he's like, hey,
Go fuck yourself, Arisen.
And he spawned some bone lords.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, cool. I'm glad I'm a assassin now, and I can arrow the shit out of them, because I would have hated this fight if I was my fighter still.
Yeah.
And you fight some bone lords for a while. That was fun. You dodge skeletons while shooting arrows at them, and I was like, "Oh, cool! This is actually cool." And it's like when I was like, I finally understand my character's stuff, and I'm really excited because the plot's really cool. Cause we're gonna figure out about this cult thing. I'm really excited. And then it's robbed from me by a goddamn dragon. Gregory the dragon shows up.
Gregory is... I've never, ever liked dragons in any game.
I still don't. I think I hate them more now.
I always thought they were lame as hell. I thought they were the lamest things ever. I played Skyrim and was like, dragons are pussies.
I don't even think those are dragons.
They're not. Game. They're wyverns. But they call them dragons. So dragons are pussies. So this whole time I was like, yeah, whatever, Gregory. So the Salvation guy is just like,
I'm summoning the dragon.
Yeah, he's like, merciful winged death. And he's just like saying all this shit like, like I've summoned the dragon and now you're going to have to suck a dick. Like,
yeah. And I was getting really into it.
My favorite part of the entire game happens where Gregory the dragon steps on him. Just crashes into him and like blows up half of the like castle. And he's just like, this shitlord has no idea what he's talking about. This cult, in one fell swoop, the game basically goes, this cult means nothing. Which is such an odd thing for a game to do. But it just goes, this is about you. Also, at this point, it should be noted, Gregory's only spoken in English one single time. In the very, very beginning of the game, after he speaks in Latin. So you get to hear his fucking awesome voice. Which, you can't deny me that. He sounds cool. Voice. What?
He's got a cool voice.
He's got a really cool voice. And, he comes out of the dust and he's like, if you want to fight me, I'll let you fight me. Seek me out. And then he flies off.
And if you're me, you go, what the fuck is the point of everything I've done so far?
To fight the dragon. You were always supposed to fight the dragon.
I get that, but man...
The cult was always meaningless, really, but...
Yeah, when you throw it away like that, but like it seemed like it had meaning, and then it was just like thrown away, and I'm like, oh.
The cult and its whole like, we summon the dragon because people want death, like people want the world to end, felt so like JRPG-y, like so Final Fantasy-y, like that kind of story like that felt so much like that I was kind of disappointed in it. And then having, for me personally, the first time I played the game, and then having Gregory come down and be like, no, it's just about you and me. Like, nobody summoned me here. That is not what this is about. Like, the fact that that's what that is refreshed me, as opposed to you, who it seemed to have hurt you physically.
I was just so ready for like everything to start making sense, like for real, like, oh, solve this cult madness,
well,
fight a dragon.
You solved it.
I didn't solve it. It was solved for me.
They were big dumb assholes.
And I was like, okay, because then immediately after that, I was like, I guess I'll fight the dragon. Because I have nothing else to do. I don't think there's any more quests, so I'll go fight this dragon. Which, getting there is complicated. I don't really need to get into it.
It's a straight line complicated, my fucking asshole.
No, getting to him, you have to go through this little dungeon.
Which is a straight line. There's nowhere to turn.
No, there are so many high-level monsters in there that my people could not do it.
Jake was level 34.
Yeah.
I was level 37. I literally walked through the entire area. Nothing stopped me.
Everything beat my ass in.
I don't understand how, but that's okay.
Everything. The wolves, I could not damage. Nothing I did hurt them. I switched out pawns. Nothing hurt them. I went, I'm just running, like my previous strategies.
Which I feel like should have been your clue. Maybe head back and do some other things and like.
But I didn't know what to do because none of my a lot of my quests had like automatically failed. So I was like, well, those are the ones I was working on, so I'm not going to work on those anymore. And
like I said, I understand kind of the point of view, but at the same time, it's like
I need to beat this game, so
yeah,
I'll take the slightly harder route. Like that point, like that wasn't like anything that was hindering me from completing it. Like all the other stuff, like this was like, oh, I'm at the end. Like it took me another day, and I had it done. Like it wasn't like I spent a week between. It just was very weird to be suddenly like everything's really hard. Like nothing has been this hard in this like amount of monsters ever until this part, and they were like super hard. And
they're all the post game stuff because you got close to the closer you get to Grigori, the more post game stuff there is.
So anyway, you get through all that. You hit some buttons. You go through a door, and Gregory's there, and he's like, and he's like, Arisen, dude, I got this lady.
Well, okay.
I was like, what?
So this is one of those things where the game does such a horribly poor job if you don't know what you're doing. Like, I knew what I was doing. I knew what, like, yeah, I wanted to romance a character so that when Grigori took her, or him.
But how would you knew that because you'd played it
I
before.
knew it, but if you don't know it, you just get some random asshole. And it, luckily for you, was Eleanor, who is the queen, who you only met one time, but you talk to her over and over again until you give her the hat, so you automatically get her to be pink aura'd. But a lot of people get other people, like Fornival as their beloved, who's a big fat merchant man, like the guy who runs the inns. Like, it is nonsense. Like, how this game operates is whoever you talk to the most is your beloved. Fuck you. They could be a grandma. They could be a child. They could be anyone in the entire game world. As long as they are a friendly NPC, they can potentially be your beloved.
It makes me wonder about a couple of things I want to experiment with at one point. Like, not experiment, but like go on YouTube and look to see if you can make the Dragon Forge your beloved.
I don't think so.
Because that would make the ending so much weirder. But anyway, so at this point, if you're me, you're presented a choice, and that is you can save your beloved and fight the dragon, or you can have the dragon destroy your beloved and you become the king.
Well, he goes, you'll become my vanquisher, and the duchy, who, though they don't ever say this, I assume is like a collection of multiple. I assume the duchy is a collection of nations, including the one where Mercedes is from, who is French Casca. Yeah. A lot of the game world is based on Berserk. I think it's very, very obvious.
Yeah, but
you have a witch in the woods who's protected by golems with a
come here, get away from the microphone, you.
You have a witch in the wood protected by golems with an older witch who was an Arisen.
Yeah.
I mean, that part isn't Berserk, but you know what I mean, like an older witch person who leaves her, so she's Shirk or Shirky, however you want to say it. You've got the king who's very, very rapey.
Yeah.
You never saw that part, but if you sneak into the castle and do more of Eleanor's quest, it gets really odd.
I figured.
Very strange. I mean, she's really young. Yeah.
Yeah. It just felt like that. Yeah. Just from the little that I played.
Well, and the dragon goes. The dragon said, this whole time you assume Duke Edmund Dragon Killer, whatever his fucking name is. I think it's Dragonsbane, actually.
Dragonsbane.
Killed the dragon, and that's why he's the king. And the dragon goes, he didn't kill shit.
He just made the deal.
Yeah, and he killed his wife.
Yeah.
And that's why he's with Eleanor now, or Aelinor, or whatever her fucking name is. But yeah, a lot of stuff is very Berserk-y. You used to be able to get Guts' armor and Griffith's armor and their weapons, which I thought was fucking cool.
I wish I could have gotten it, because that would have made me kind of happy, because I love Berserk.
I love Berserk. But yeah,
he finally got off that boat.
You have the option of either walking away to a game over, I'm pretty sure.
Nope. It's a real ending.
But the game ends at that point. There's no post-game.
Which is fine with me. I didn't need the post-game.
But you didn't do that, so it doesn't matter.
I was going to, and there was an achievement for it, so I really should have done it. Just to get because I think it reboots you right back to where you were, I think. I don't know about that.
Probably not.
But this game either way, I would have went, I beat it, and I would have called it. Hit the timer. How many hours? 22? Perfect.
the whole. I honestly think if you didn't have somebody that you gave the Arisen's bond to, or presented a lot of presents to, which also you never got the Arisen's bond, which is fine. It's directly related to this, where it's like if you give the Arisen's bond to somebody, they are almost. I think it's like a 98%. Though there is a small percentage that it will not be the Arisen's bond person. But if you give the Arisen's bond to somebody and they're the last person you talk to before you go to the encampment, they are almost guaranteed to be your beloved, quote unquote.
Strange.
And there's even an extra little scene where when the dragon flies away, he drops the ring, which is an extra little. I am gonna go fucking kill this dragon now because I know that they took the person because there's no one else who would have this ring.
Yeah.
And so clearly they either took them or killed them or something. It's just odd that I really feel like if you didn't do those things and you should be consciously aware of who is and is not your beloved. Like, you shouldn't get somebody random. If it does get to that point, I really feel like Grigori should have taken your main pawn, who you are probably really attached to at this point, regardless of if they're cute or not. Like,
your pawn is important.
Yeah, your pawn's really important. You now have to go forth and fight the dragon with 3 pawns that you don't know. Like, It would have been a really cool little scenario to be like, yeah, I want to save my pawn. Like, I'm so attached to them. Like,
yeah, by this point, that was the only person I cared about.
Yeah, exactly.
He had a cool voice. He had my name. Cool voice. But like when I saw her and I went, I don't even know who that is.
Yeah,
I didn't recognize her. Like most characters in the games,
especially because her hair is down.
Everyone looks really weird. Everybody looks really dumpy in this game.
Yes,
no one looks pretty, which I'm fine with.
I think Mercedes is pretty, except in cutscenes where she
like
looks
Katsuka because they just copied it. But
well, but Katsuka's pretty.
and there's like a whole subplot with a knight that didn't go anywhere either. The knight's champion.
There's a couple previous quests.
Yeah, well,
to make that make sense.
Well, I didn't
follow
get those,
him around.
So. Well, I did. I followed him.
Yeah, you did it. He's the knight's champion.
Great, yeah. Okay, glad that's it.
So,
so yeah, when you get to this point, you're like, if you're me, you're like, well, I don't care about them, and I get to be someone important. That sounds cool. Why? For my personal motivations, why am I gonna fight the dragon? He didn't do anything wrong. I'm alive, and I got to fight a bunch of cool stuff because of it. Like, I met the king. Like. And then there's this lady, and I'm going to be a king now? Like, that seems a pretty good deal for my character's motivations.
Grigori does present 2 things to you. When he says the Duke
is a big-ass pussy,
yeah,
I was like, well, I don't want to be a pussy.
Well, also that implies that regardless of your choice, Grigori will be back.
Yeah.
Like, that is the implication there. So, yes, you will be strong, and you'll live forever, and all that bullshit, but the dragon will be back. Yeah. Like, just because you are wealthy doesn't mean you're safe.
No.
So he does also tell you that. Grigori is always very honest.
Yeah.
You know, when you do finally decide to fight him, he's like, we had a dumb decision, but a brave one, which is pretty cool, but still stupid. Like, it's hard not to love him.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
he is an interesting character. He's probably the most likable character in the game.
By
bizarre
far,
because you have to wait the whole game to meet someone likable. Finally,
yes. He is by far the most likable character, especially after the more you learn about Grigori, the more likable he is.
Yeah,
like.
He's the only one that tells you up front, hey, this is what's going on. And I go, oh, thank God, because everyone else has been an asshole to me for no reason.
Which makes sense. Again, Duke Edmund is an asshole.
I get it, because he doesn't want to fucking die.
Well, he
doesn't want to be replaced. He doesn't want all these things. Like, I get it. Like, I understood it, but it was just kind of like...
Like, Arisen means nothing to him, because he knows... The Dragon Forge is an Arisen. He's an Arisen.
There's a shit ton of them. Everybody's an Arisen.
Basically, like, it really means nothing to him. So he's like, even though he made this big, like, he basically created the legend in Grandsoren that, like, the Arisen is important. So he kind of dug his own grave with that. So he's kind of an asshole to you.
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense, but it's not satisfying.
Yeah.
And it's, on one hand, it's nice that it makes sense. On the other hand, it'd really be better if it were satisfying and made sense.
Yes. Because, I don't know. So you go in to fight this dragon, which... I mean, is the better of the 2 options, I assume, even though one gets you an achievement if you're an achievement whore. There you go.
Well, both give you achievements.
Yeah. Basically, you it's like a it starts out and it's kind of like a QTE-ish style fight where you're running from things. Yeah. You're not really doing a real fight yet.
Yeah.
Like you're kind of doing like a pre-fight to get warmed up. Like, oh yeah, he's hard, and kind of like a tutorial area to teach you how to fight him. Like climb on him, and
nothing has been this large. And what I really appreciate about Grigori is like his attacks aren't pussy attacks.
Now they're
the strongest attacks so far you fought. Like this game does not fuck around. It feels like when it says I'm Grigori, I'm a fucking dragon, I'm going to be at least a little bit difficult. He's serious. Like it's gonna be hard. Like
he's got 100,000 health.
Something he has an insane amount.
He's got 10 bars of health, I think.
Which is the most you've seen so far.
Yeah.
There are more.
I'm sure.
The Ur Dragon has more. But the point is, like, his attacks really hurt. It feels like a real battle.
Yeah. Compared to the rest of the game, it felt like an epic Lord of the Rings style battle. Though it doesn't entirely make sense, the entire sequence of events that take place to get to this battle.
I don't know how your pawns get around. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like,
or how you really get around, because how did you grab that dragon? I don't know, but...
Well, Grigori wants you to.
Sure.
Also, like, you have to remember that he is fighting you, and he is fighting you for real fighting you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he does want you to have...
And he eggs you on.
Yeah.
Like, fight me.
He's like I said, he
knows that he's going to win. Like, he's very confident in himself.
And even when he's not, he's like... I'm kind of happy that, like, I'm not going to... Like, I've killed so many of your fucking people that I'm kind of happy that finally there's an Arisen who can beat me.
Yeah, even though he looks like a retard if you look at my pawn. Yeah. Or not my pawn, my character. He looks so stupid, but he's lovable.
He is very lovable. Just like his master. So you fight him in this little area, and then eventually he's like... You go outside into what used to be a bunch of castles and stuff, and he basically goes, look at the shit that you people make, and is just destroyed instantly. Like, I can just do this. Like,
yeah.
He's endearing in his, like, people take so long to create structures so grand, and I can just destroy them instantly.
And
how does that make you feel about, like, your mortality? And, like, he has all these little moments where you're going across all these bridges, and he's just destroying shit, and you grab onto him at some point, and he flies away, and he flies into the fucking sky, and it's really cool looking. Not really making a whole lot of sense, but it's really cool looking.
He flies so far away at one point.
So far. And he doesn't turn, so don't tell me he turns and circles back.
No, he doesn't. And then you end up in the dragon's roost or dragon's nest or something.
Yeah.
If you read the FAQ, which I was looking at.
You fly through the sky, and you fall off at one point.
And you fall?
And then Grigori catches you, and then, I thought he does something. I'm almost positive he does something.
I don't remember now. And I fought it twice, and I should remember, but...
regardless, you drop down, and then your 3 pawns magically...
They're just there.
They just are there.
And then you take a step forward, you pick up a ring on the ground, and then you get hit with a fireball.
Yeah, and then you fight Grigori, and if you try to fight him normal, you get... fucked.
Yeah, he is difficult. He makes you throw a controller down and go to bed for the night.
Go to bed forever.
And then you take him on the next time and you go, I got it. It's easy now.
Yeah,
you beat the shit out of him.
He has a big glowing heart. You hit his glowing weak point for maximum damage. Giant enemy crap. And you stay up there, and then you go, I have all these potions that also revive my stamina. Or you're like Jake and you have a potion that gives you infinite stamina, and then you just sit there and you
stab him.
And you stab him, and then he dies. It's a little bit anticlimactic.
It didn't last forever, but it lasted long enough that I knocked down like 8 of his 10 bars. Like it was stupid. And he for whatever reason, he grabs you, but he only grabbed me one time when I was on his chest.
Exactly the same thing happened to me the second time I fought him. Yeah. He has a couple really, really cool attacks. Yeah. Which give you some insight as to who he is before you finish it and before you finish the game proper, which is he can pick up pawns, right? And when he does, he goes, formless face of man, bow to your new master or whatever he says. And he makes the pawns his pawn. And so you have to fight your own pawns, which it's a cool little moment. The Ur-Dragon does it as well, and I think Damien does it too, because they're all Arisens. But so, he has some really cool attacks, but you'll most likely just get up on his chest and then kill him.
Stab him in his heart.
Yeah, kill him a million times.
And then you get your heart back.
And you get your heart back. The dragon becomes dust.
The Dragon Forge becomes dust.
Dragon Forged Maisie Stars. And then then
Dragon's Bane becomes an old man, just like in Indiana Jones.
Yeah, he Indiana Joneses.
Yeah, I was like, oh, how come he didn't turn to dust?
He's not old enough.
Well, he should.
The Dragon Forged is way older.
Yeah, I assumed. Does it show anybody else if you meet other Arisen?
Those are the only two living Arisen that are around you at the time, because Celine's master's dead. Been dead for so long.
Okay.
Why she isn't one of the things, I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't. I don't know what is up with that. Oh, you know what? She could have died to Grigori, and then I don't think anything bad would have happened to her. Because basically, this is where Jake stopped. Well, I guess not really. Jake played a little bit of the post game.
Just a little
Tiny bit. He went into the Everfall for 2 seconds.
Got fucked.
Oh, you went inside?
I think so.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what this is.
I've beat the Everfall. I've never beaten Bitter Black Isle. I plan to do it at some point, just for fun, over the course of the... I genuinely...
Because you're a masochist, I get it.
I genuinely enjoy the game, so it's a little bit different for me.
I never want to touch this game again. I already uninstalled it.
But, so you have... You go back to... You meet Duke Edmund Dragonbane, and he's an old man, and he's like, you made the deal with the dragon! You can't lie to me, you fuck!
You fuck.
And then, so you beat the shit out of him.
He doesn't die.
He doesn't die, but you beat the shit out of him. And then all the guards try to kill you.
It's the most disappointing part of the game, next to everything you've been doing is pointless. Story-wise.
And then you're tasked with going into this giant fucking hole that's appeared in the middle of Grand Soren.
Yeah.
And getting 20 Wake Stones.
Very weird.
And then you summon the Ur-Dragon with your 20 Wake Stones. It's nuts. It's insanity. Basically, for those who don't know, the story of the game is that there is a god in this world, in this Dragon's Dogma universe. There's a god named Senshiel or Senshiel or whatever his name is. And that's their term for it. The god gets bored eventually, basically, and says, I want to find somebody else who will rule everything different than me, but who is worthy of it. So he makes a dragon, I guess. I don't really know how the first dragon gets made, but whatever. So he makes a dragon. The dragon then goes into the world and releases a shit zillion monsters all over the world to test any Arisen, basically. Anyone who is potentially an Arisen. And then the dragon goes and he picks somebody to be the Arisen.
Presumably a random, because...
It depends. Sometimes they're not random. It depends. Like, again, you never even went into Bitter Black Isle, but Damien is an Arisen who got picked specifically by the dragon because the dragon knew who he was. So it can get interesting, but presumably at random for the most part, an Arisen is picked. The Arisen then has multiple things can happen to the Arisen based on what happens thereafter. Arisen's not particularly special. They don't get any special abilities, really. They can, if they go and hide, they become what the Dragon Forged is, which is basically an old man who's given up his spot as Arisen, but will never die until the dragon dies. And it's just basically a sad old man who lives in a cave. Your other option is to die to the dragon, which I assume is what happens to Celine's master, because she's just a ghost. Somehow. Then when you get to the dragon, if you don't beat the dragon, you take his bargain, you become Duke Edmund, whatever his name is.
And you feel sad.
And you feel like a big dumb asshole. If you beat the dragon and then lose to, I guess, anything in the Everfall, but if you lose to anything, if you lose to the Essential specifically, like if you're not worthy to become God makes you the new dragon. So, I mean, it can be kind of interesting from there. Like, it's all about worthiness, and then there's an extra element, which is Damien, who he is the master of this place called Bitter Black Isle, which was brought into existence in Dark Arisen when they released that expansion. And it's Bitter Black Isle is this place that exists kind of like the Nexus or whatever, wherever you go to pick up pawns. It exists in all worlds. So my world, your world, Bitter Black Isle is supposedly the same Bitter Black Isle. So Damien wants people to come to Bitter Black Isle and die constantly, all Arisens, so that there will never be a new Sential. That's his whole plan, is to get every Arisen to come and die in every world. It's very strange. And it's basically like he has a whole story. He fell in love with this Arisen's pawn. The Arisen then failed to the Sential, became the dragon, picked Damien or whatever his original name was specifically to become an Arisen, and then he hid out on this place and fused with his dragon. I don't know. It becomes very complicated, and I don't really understand it still. He fused with a dragon. I don't know how it works. That's Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. We beat it.
We beat it. I beat it. It was great. It wasn't. I was kidding.
The game is severely flawed. Severely flawed. I think even people who love it, I mean, I love it, but even people who love it even more than me would admit that it's flawed. Its presentation is god-awful. God-awful presentation. 90% of the game is so hard to get through on just story premises. Like, there's nothing that really sets you forward. It's cool that it's such a unique story in my mind. Like, I think it's really cool, the story. I think it's very unique to RPGs. Like, you were like, I hate that I'm the chosen one, but you're really not. You are doing everything because you are you. Like, you personally have the skill and determination to go and do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just because you are the chosen one. And there are multiple characters in the world who know that that's not true. Like, that's cool. It's unique. But, at the same time, it's flawed.
Yeah.
I honestly would really recommend it to people, but I cannot guarantee at all that you will like it.
Yeah. I think it was a $30 game.
Yeah.
Which is probably for the best. If you play this game, it's one of those games that I would definitely like. If you don't get into it in the first couple hours,
I wouldn't say that. I didn't get into it in the first couple hours when I played it.
I mean, I didn't get into it,
but you see, like, it's not a game. Like, I would wait maybe until a Steam sale when it's like $17.
Yeah,
it's if you want a time sink, it's a time sink. Like, you can put in a lot into it, and you won't be able to know in the first couple hours if you're gonna like it. Like, that's really not what it's like. It's hard to describe, but it's a really weird, strangely endearing game.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe. Like, are you not at least a little bit, like, charmed by it? Just a little tiny bit?
I mean, I liked one character.
It's... You don't find the, like, how it treats everything... I don't know. There's something about it to me that's just, like...
Everything just felt so convoluted. Like, yeah, I want more systems in a game, but not in this convoluted mess that you have. Like, there's just too... To me, it felt like they had all these ideas, and then somewhere along the way, they went, scratch it, let's change it real quick. And
that's
it ends.
A lot of what happened. Like,
yeah.
Which is sad. Would you like a Dragon's Dogma 2?
If it can refine the things, we mentioned this off the air, but if it Mass Effect 2 comparison, where they fixed a lot of the issues that plagued Mass Effect 1, and maybe had a story that was interesting, because Mass Effect 1 story is not really that interesting.
Mass Effect 1 story is better than 2's.
Yeah.
It's way more interesting. That moment where you go, Sovereign's a really cool character who's going to be really cool later and isn't going to just die by having someone do whatever.
But, like, 2, I feel like really open up the depth of the world and really let the world shine in, which there's, like, the world here is just so kind of like...
Well, because it's, like, there's all these hints at a bigger world.
Yeah.
Like, there's where Mercedes is from and how there's, like, a whole, like, political structure in there where she got sent because they don't actually care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's all these weird little things and they're just not fleshed out. It's sad, I think.
The only comparison I could make is it feels like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign where the DM has, like, built up this story and then, like, the players kind of, like, fucked it up and they're like, well, I don't know how to fix it.
They have a really cool. They have their really cool ending that they already made, and they're just trying to.
They have to fit it together. They're like, well, the dragon kills the colt, and now you have to fight the dragon.
Like
they just give up. Like
they built this story, and then the players started investigating this cult.
Yeah.
That had no
relation.
And so they kept wanting to know about it, so the DM was like, all right, fine. And I guess it's the cult there. Like,
yeah, like it felt like that to me, like very Dungeons and Dragon-esque. Like, even in gameplay, like a lot of the game felt very like going out into the world and there's things there. And that was cool. Like, I get that. Like, that's really interesting that everywhere I go, there's stuff going on. Whereas I feel like in Skyrim, you'll go to somewhere, there's nothing there. It's pointless.
It's there, but it's totally just a facade. Like,
yeah, we're here. There was I went to the mine, and there was a man there who said he's trying to go through it. And I was like, oh, cool.
And you help him,
and you choose to help him, or you do half of it, like I did, because I didn't want to fight 2 more ogres.
Yeah,
because I didn't care enough about this man and his stupid. Why not just go around? It'd be way faster. It takes me 10 seconds. Why do you have to go through here, you maniac man?
You maniac man.
But yeah, like it felt very Dungeon Dragon-esque. Again, very much like the older CRPGs, like Baldur's Gate, like that.
Yeah,
but with this layer of complicatedness that I don't feel like I got when I played Baldur's Gate. Like, there's just this like layer of convoluted systems and story that I'm like,
I would say mystique.
Yeah,
a layer of mystique covers the whole game.
Sure, if you want to say that, that's fair.
I think it's pretty fair to say that this is like a very quintessential me game.
Yeah,
like a game that I think most people would probably dislike, but I love it for some reason.
Like I think it's clear in what the types of games I like from Chrono Trigger and Earthbound. Like I like games that
complete experiences.
Yeah, you go in, you know what you're gonna get. And it does little twists, and it does things different, but not just have everything flip-flop and go, all right, you're done. And like, what? Like,
yeah.
Or you don't get any hints until the end of what's happening. Like, it's just very strange. Maybe I'll grow to appreciate it later, but fresh off of it, it's like, what a strange experience I just went through. Like, why?
See, for me, I played Dragon's Dogma 1 and beat Grigori. Like, just standard Dragon's Dogma. Beat Grigori, didn't really like it. Didn't see what all the fuss was about. I was like, I played other RPGs after that. Like, I forget what I had played directly after that, but I came back. All I could think about was, God, Dragon's Dogma was kind of cool. Like, it didn't have all this stupid bullshit. Like, it had its own stupid bullshit, but it wasn't this stupid bullshit. Like, it trusted me in a way that most of the Western RPGs that I was playing at the time didn't. And then I went back when Dark Arisen came out. It came out on PS Plus as a free game, and I downloaded it. And when I went back, having already played it, and I was like, wow, there's a lot of shit in here that's really, really cool. And I grew to appreciate it. I didn't start liking Dragon's Dogma, especially the vanilla Dragon's Dogma. Vanilla Dragon's Dogma is a hell on earth. Like, it really is.
Again, like I said, it feels very inspired by the older isometric RPGs.
Yes, I agree. I agree with that.
Like,
totally.
That I can see, but it feels like they, like Icarus, flew too close to the sun.
Well, it
totally just went way too far with some parts that don't really flesh out in a meaningful way. I feel, for me, I mean, there might be more that I'm just not seeing yet, or will ever, honestly.
Probably.
But like, I feel like when I play older Western RPGs, like, oh, I get it. Like, these things are here. Like, I'm not missing anything. Like, the story for half the game.
It's like it's like a Western RPG put through like a translator.
Yeah,
it's how it feels like 90%. Like, yes, Dark Souls is very Western inspired. Japanese action RPG. This is even more Western inspired. Like, there's almost no Japanese influence other than Berserk, which is really Western influenced. Like, it's
and how much of that Berserk comes from Dark Souls, which is inspired by Berserk.
No, like, the guy's talked multiple times about. Well, I guess both of the directors, Souls,
they both have talked about it.
I mean, Berserk's really popular. It makes sense.
It's especially the greatest manga ever made. That's why they keep remaking the beginning of it every couple years.
And that's why the greatest manga of all time will now be the shittiest looking anime I will ever lay my eyes upon.
Hey, and you know what all that matters is they got off the ship. And
now they went right back into shitty CGs.
He can draw dogs.
That's true. That's true.
You can draw a lot of things correctly.
But yeah,
that's why it takes him so long to bring out a new issue.
Because he's drawing all those dogs
correctly, just to show up JoJo.
Yeah, I think even more than Dark Souls, and it's why Dark Souls has such a weird, interesting world to me. Like very much like Silent Hill, which is a Western thing as seen through the eyes of like an Eastern audience.
Yeah.
So it has all this weird shit in it that doesn't make sense to me, which makes Silent Hill feel a lot more weirder.
Yeah.
And like Dark Souls' world is really odd because it's all this Japanese and Western stuff mixed together.
Well, it's this medieval game with these
from people who don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's not they don't know, but it's just like their interpretation of it almost.
It's just strange and cool. Like, and Dragon's Dogma is interesting to me because it's so Western inspired. Like, it could almost be a Western RPG until you start playing it and go, like, Skyrim would never have near Devil May Cry combat.
Well, it's like you take Baldur's Gate and you give it arcade controls.
Yeah, it's super strange.
Like, here's a controller, play Baldur's Gate, and it's like, what? Here's
Baldur's Gate. You've played like I don't know, some like it's just weird to for that director to have taken like yeah people really like DMC. I'll just put those into an action RPG, and I think it works for the most part. Like, I wish there were more interesting enemies to use him on.
Yeah, instead of just harpies and goblins.
And to be fair, in post game, there's way more interesting enemies.
Yeah, harpies and goblins. That's the first thing I saw when I got out of the castle.
They
were
like, succubi.
Oh no, totally different enemy type.
But
now they have even larger breasts.
Oh my god! If only. But they're like
Poppy.
She has smaller breasts. Let's talk about
change the
Monmu.
podcast.
Yeah,
it's the new podcast. We're done with this.
I don't know. Do you have any other questions for me?
I have nothing. Like, I'm sorry.
I know.
We talked about everything that we wanted to discuss.
Even though you don't like it, would you recommend it?
If you like punishingly strange games, yeah, go for it. If you don't care, play something else.
Yeah, I mean,
start somewhere else and then get to this game. Maybe like play Dark Souls in its entirety. Like, don't half-ass it like I have so far, because it's gonna be on our list later this year. Yeah. Bang, bang, bang.
That's not the next game, though.
No, thankfully, because we'll be saying that for the next year if I do that. But no, it's. I feel like you need to play a Divinity: Original Sin.
Another very weird, but that is a Western-made game, but with a very weird everything.
But like, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
As a Baldur's Gate player, like and even like some of the other games from BioWare and whatnot, even like Fallout, like those games make sense to me. And those are weird games. Like, they have a lot of weird little things in them, but like they also have a story. So playing those might be a better like introduction to like the systems that are in play here with the grandiose convoluted systems.
Yeah.
Of like, you could do things that will matter and characters matter.
Yeah, weirdly. Nothing seems like it matters. That's the biggest problem with this game is, again, like I said, its presentation is the biggest flaw, I would say. Like, the issue with it is that it doesn't, the first time you play it, it doesn't feel like anything matters, but it all does.
Like, a quick example would be the Fornival. He goes on trial.
Yeah.
And one of the things is, everybody, I didn't like the guy. I don't know why I didn't like him. Oh, he's trying to kick out a family. And I was like, yeah, he's an asshole. So that's the only thing I knew about the guy. But like the Duchess's chairman says, go collect
evidence,
testimony,
on
what he is, so we can take him to trial, whether he's a good or bad guy.
He's also an important. It should be noted, he's an important merchant who buys things at really high prices.
So I didn't like him. So I went to this guy who had forgeries, and he would forge a guilty sentence or testimony or a non-guilty testimony. And I was like, oh, I don't like him. Guilty. And I paid 5,000 gold, and I didn't even think about it. And then immediately after that, I started talking to these people because I had 4 days to just mess around. And everybody really liked him. Everybody I talked to.
And to be fair, he also does bad things. Like, there is a ledger where he is giving people gifts that are elite, like, under the table. Like, he's not black and white. A lot of the characters in this game aren't black and white. Like, if you had to fight a fucking dragon and you were just a normal-ass person, I'm thinking the majority of people would be like, yeah, kill my fucking wife. I don't give a shit. Like, it's easy to see it from Edmund's point of view. Like, a lot of these characters are like that, but you would never know it.
Yeah.
Because the presentation is so bad.
Because I only knew him as an asshole from that instance, but all these people knew he's done these things. I'm sorry. He said, like, this guy, he provides our weapons to our keep. He's done these things. He's helped with the church. Like, okay, fine. I feel bad now that I turned in that guilty one. Maybe collect up a bunch of these innocent ones, and I gave it in, and I went, okay. But, like, that's a really weird thing. Like, there's, like, one option to make him guilty.
No, there's a couple.
Well, I couldn't find them.
You can go to if you evicted the people, you can go and get them.
Yeah. Which I couldn't get the dad to show up for some reason.
Yeah. If you go into his house and you explore a little bit, you can find that thing that I was talking about where the gift ledger, you can find that. But I'm
sure, but like if you don't
it's a lot easier
if you don't go anywhere past the surface, which is what I'm trying to get at. Like there are systems there. Like that those things don't feel like a Skyrim thing.
No, not at all. Maybe like Morrowind.
Well, yeah, Morrowind definitely. Yeah. Like if you played those games, I feel like this game will make semi-sense.
Yeah.
But if you have been tainted like me lately with horrible RPGs where you just assume everything's dumbed down and pointless, like or black and white, like it's a really weird game. Like, oh wow, like
that's what I mean. Like it's really
got
odd.
depth to it, but like the depth only goes so deep. It's like a kiddie pool where it's fun, but there's like all this story that's all the adults are having, but you don't see it yet.
I want a Dragon's Dogma 2 so badly. It's like it would be one of my before this E3, the two things I wanted most of all were Dragon's Dogma 2 and Nier 2. They're the two games that I felt like deserved a bigger budget and a sequel more than any other games that I had played in a while.
It makes me worried because I was excited to play Nier until I played this, and I thought, PJ really likes this game.
It's so true. Every game I like is such a crapshoot.
They're just so weird. I'm like, what is this? Like, I like really normal games, I guess. Like, maybe I'm a like normal person,
too, but like, I like games that are weird and broken. That don't function.
Like, I like weird stuff. Like, I could read a wiki page and get the same experience, but you're like, you got to put in the 60 hours. I'm like, why?
I think you'll like Nier a lot more.
Probably because it looks like a more feature-complete game.
It's not.
Well.
It is a less feature-complete
game. After this, I've already set my expectations in the negative.
Good.
Like many things I've come to expect now. So, like, just thought I'd bring that up for a future game because I know we're probably going to play it.
It's on our list.
I know. It's on there. I saw it. I put it on our calendar, I think.
I put it on there.
Well, I put it on the official calendar. We have an official calendar.
Oh, yeah. Go check it out.
For anyone who's listening on the website, we have an official calendar that
it says when we won't complete games.
When we say we're going to beat them, but we won't.
Yeah.
So as a little bit of like information about what we're doing, next week we're going to do Street Fighter?
Yeah. Next week,
if it works.
Next week we're doing Street Fighter 5.
Hopefully. I'm really excited to play it.
It'll be our first game that doesn't... I mean, I guess technically we could just beat one of the story modes and be like, we beat it. But we're not going to do that because that's half-assing it, and we don't need to half-ass it unless we don't get it done until Thursday, in which case we will do exactly that and go, we technically beat it.
Yeah, just like Gravity Bone.
Gravity Bone.
We beat that game. Remember how well we beat those 3 games in 10
that were
minutes?
15 minutes? Yeah. So we're going to beat every story mode, all 16 story modes.
Are all 16 in it?
Yeah.
I heard that they're not all there.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah. I heard there's only 8 of them.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Even better. We'll beat all the story modes we can.
Because that's the one thing we'll have to talk about is this game is coming out half-assed.
Yeah.
Which I find really weird.
But we're going to beat all the story modes. And then we are going to play at least, I'm going to say, 20 matches per person online.
Jesus.
What? It's a fighting game.
I know.
We're not going to be able...
I'm going to get my ass pounded in.
Well, that's
I can't
part
wait.
Of the fun.
Yeah. If online works, that's the other thing.
20 matches per person. Each one of us will have 20 online. And then I'm going to say 50 matches total versus each other.
Sounds good.
Which will be the end of our friendship, I'm sure. So come back next week where there won't be a podcast.
Well, there'll be like a episode of PJ going, "It's over.
It's over. It's all over."
And you hear fire crackling in the background and gunshots.
I'm sorry. In those 50 rounds per person, like in those 50 versus ones, at least 2 rounds will have to be played of each character.
Yeah.
We can't skip over a character.
Yeah, I want to play every character anyway.
Yeah.
Just to experiment. I always like playing as everything to figure them all out.
Yeah, so we're going to try to do it correctly. It won't be the amount that you probably want from a fighting game. I mean, you really need to be playing, an infinite amount of hours to be able to judge a fighting game, but we'll technically have beaten it, and we'll go a little bit above and beyond and try to really give it a fair shake. To laymen, really, playing a fighting game.
I'm probably going to live stream it.
Oh, yeah.
So, and if we play it more, I'll probably live stream it still. So there'll be more updates to it, technically.
Yeah.
Like we can tweet about it and different things. So
yeah.
If you're following us on Twitter, I do try to talk on there, but no one talks to me, so I just don't tweet that often. But I will communicate. I'm quick. Like it's on my phone. Like I like talking.
Yeah.
And a weird person followed us today, and I meant to tell you, Weeaboo Trash.
Weeaboo Trash. Perfect.
So
shout out to Weeaboo
Trash. You really made my morning at work this morning. I was like, oh, okay. I don't know why you followed us. There's nothing we've done that would make you just follow us randomly, but thank you.
Probably because we only play Weeaboo Trash.
Well, that's true.
All right.
Good night.
Good night. Yeah, join us for Street Fighter, I guess.
Yeah.